Hello and welcome to your English news broadcast live on ERi-TV. It's exactly 10:30 p.m. on Eritrea's local time from our headquarters at Asmara with your domestic and international news in brief. I'm Zahra Badouri, but first we'll begin with your major headlines for this broadcast. Modern medical equipment in Misawa Hospital. Crops in good condition in Barantu subzone and International Day of Elders services observed. Burkina Faso military officers remove President Damiba in a coup. Eurozone inflation hits record 10% in Europe. Welcome to your domestic in brief. The modern medical equipment put in place in Misawa Hospital, as well as supply of medicines, is significantly contributing in the praiseworthy health services provision to the public. Dr. Zamui Mokonnen, medical director of the hospital, indicated that the digital equipment put in place in the hospital, coupled with the supply of medicine and manpower, the hospital is providing a praiseworthy health service to the public, pointing out that the equipment put in place in the hospital include machines for diagnosis of various internal diseases, eye surgery, laboratory, X-ray, ultrasound, emergency. Dr. Zamui called on the public to sustainably carry out environmental sanitation activity with a view to control communicable disease alongside the program. Misawa Hospital provides health services to residents from the port city of Misawa, as well as from the subzones of Galalo, Dahlak, Foro, and part of Sheb. The Agricultural Office in Barantu subzone reported that owing to the ample rainfall, distributed crops in the subzone are in good condition, indicating that the subzone received ample rainfall starting from the beginning of July. Mr. Muse Bahta, head of the Agricultural Office in the subzone, said that 11,800 hectares of land have been cultivated with various crops and are in good condition. Mr. Muse also said that the water and soil conservation activity that have been conducted by the residents of the subzone has significantly contributed in boosting the agricultural production. Mr. Muse also called on the farmers to conduct regular follow-up on their fields until harvest time. According to documents in Barantu subzone, there is about 15,000 arable land. On your final domestic International Day of Elders was observed at national level today, 1 October, here in Asmara, under the theme Care and Support to Older Persons, Our Cultural Identity. The ceremony, organized at Debat Training Center, was attended by Mrs. Lul Gabrab, Minister of Labor and Social Welfare, as well as invited senior citizens. Mr. Mehratab Fasahaye, Director General of Social Welfare at the Ministry of Labor and Social Welfare, said that respecting the honor and honoring elder persons is one of the noble cultural values of the Eritrean people, and the Eritrean government is also providing due attention to the well-being of its senior citizens, and that has been cited at the National Charter. Mr. Mehratab also said that the Ministry of Labor and Social Welfare is working to develop community-based care to elders, and the International Day of Elders is being observed at the 27th time at national level and for the 31st time at an international level. We'll be back with your international after this. And welcome back. Burkina Faso military leaders Paul-Henri Damiba has been deposed in the country's second coup in a year as Army Captain Ibrahim Traoré took charge, dissolving the transitional government and subsiding the constitution. Traoré said on Friday evening that a group of officers had decided to remove Damiba due to his inability to deal with a worsening armed uprising in the country. The captain was previously head of special force units in Cobra in the northern region of Kaya. It is the second takeover in 8 months, however, for the West African state. Damiba took power in a coup in January that overthrew former President Roch Kabore, also due to a part of frustration over the worsening insecurity. Burkina Faso has been struggling to contain rebel groups, including some associated with Al-Qaeda and ISIS. Reporting from Dakar, Senegal, Al Jazeera correspondent Nicolas Hockey said, with 40% of Burkina Faso out of the control of the state, there is growing frustration over security within the country. Damiba's fate, however, is yet unknown. The Eurozone inflation has hit a record high this month, reinforcing expectations for another big interest rate hike from the European Central Bank in October. Price growth in the 19 countries sharing the euro accelerated to 10.0% in September from 9.1% at a month earlier. Data from Eurostat showed on Friday, however, beating expectations for a reading of 9.7%. Figures a day earlier had shown inflation in Germany, the bloc's biggest economy, jumping to its highest rate since the time of Korean War 70 years ago. Inflation was still driven mainly by volatile energy and food prices, but continued to broaden out, with variety of all categories, from services to industrial goods, now showing painfully high readings. That is likely to make uncomfortable reading for the ECB, however, which targets price growth at 2%, as it suggests that inflation is increasingly being fueled by excess demand and it is at risk of getting entrenched. Indeed, underlying inflation, which filters out volatile food, fuel prices and is closely watched by the ECB. Dear viewers, that is all for now with your domestic and international news in brief. Let's review today's major headlines. Modern medical equipment in Misawa Hospital. Crops on good condition in Baran. Military officers try to remove President Damiba in a coup in Burkina Faso. The euro's inflation hit record 10% in Europe. That is all from us here at our headquarters at Asmara on ERi-TV. We'll leave you with the programs. Stay tuned for more news.